Breaking news is out of Esparto, where 7 people are still missing after that massive explosion at a fireworks facility. Tonight, there are heartbreaking images from before the destruction and after. The buildings reduced to ash and rubble, and the loved ones of those missing are demanding answers. Officials haven't released details about those who are still unaccounted for, and some of those families say they are frustrated and also scared. Thank you for joining us here for our News at 10. I'm Edie Lambert.
And I'm Curtis Mang. Tonight, KCRA has learned a Yolo County Sheriff's lieutenant lived at that property, and an Esparto volunteer firefighter is connected to the company that stored fireworks there. So here's what we know right now. A team from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, or ATF, has been called to help local responders. Tonight, crews are also focusing on accessing the facilities. We've seen them using hoses to spray down the site to reduce the hazards. They say their goal is to make that site safe enough to begin recovery operations and the investigation. CAL FIRE says 7 people remain missing, 2 people were hurt. Evacuation orders and road closures remain in place, and 89 customers are without power in that area.
We want to show you how that scene developed. Live Copter 3 has been over the blast zone since shortly after the initial explosion. On the left is what it looked like around 6:30 last night when we first got to the scene. You can see black plumes of smoke. In the center is what it looked like at noon today. The fire still smoldering. And on the right was the scene at 7 o'clock tonight. That facility obviously reduced to rubble, and firefighters said they were still hearing some fireworks going off a whole day later. Officials are still working to figure out what triggered all this destruction, but it's been tough because it's been too dangerous for them to get in and is being treated as a crime scene to preserve evidence.
Our team is on the ground in Esparto tonight. Catalina Estrada spoke with neighbors who heard and felt that blast. Peyton Headley has details on the cleanup, but first let's get to Andres Valle with the latest on the investigation. Andres?
Yeah, well, Curtis, pretty much the perimeter of the facility is pretty large. So we're pretty far back of where that explosion did happen on that site. And that's because officials say it's extremely dangerous to still be in that area. That's why they're keeping the public away from that area as well, because it's also a crime scene. Now, we do know 7 people are unaccounted for. And tonight we spoke to a family friend of one of those missing people who says officials need to communicate better with them to give them better information to the rest of the families who are waiting answers.
If you all saw when we all saw that on the news, it was like, how are they not at least saying, hey, the chances are very slim.
Darlene Sanchez frustrated over what she describes as a lack of communication from officials after a fireworks facility caught fire and exploded on Tuesday in Esparto. Darlene says her best friend's husband, Carlos Javier Rodriguez, is one of the 7 people who is missing.
He's a devoted father, a 41-year-old man who works hard, provides for his family. He's a husband, a dad, a Nino, an uncle, a brother, a best friend.
Darlene says Carlos's family is grieving, and they've accepted that he didn't survive.
There's nothing left. And it's been more than 24 hours. So, and I know him that he would have called by now. He would have somehow found a way to communicate to the world like, hey, I'm here.
CAL FIRE is taking the lead on the investigation and has not released any information about the identities of the 7 people who are missing.
There has been communication with family, and I understand that it's not the communication that everybody would probably want to hear. But again, we are doing our best with the information that we have and the information that we can feasibly share.
CAL FIRE says it was too dangerous to get into the site because of the magnitude of explosives stored at the facility. Exclusive images from Live Copter 3 showed a new development in the investigation as fire crews entered the blast site around 6:30 p.m., hosing down part of the facility.
It's a very complex and ongoing incident that is not completely terminated or mitigated, so we're going to keep the public and our responders' safety in the utmost regard throughout this incident.
Darlene demanding officials release more information.
There's 6 other families that are grieving and have lost loved ones that, we want answers.
For now, Darlene says Carlos's family will remember him through his humor.
He was very loud. He was funny. He was a good guy.
So Darlene did let me know that they're expected to meet with the coroner's office tomorrow, and of course our thoughts and prayers are with the Carlos's family. Now, as for the victims, the rest of the 7 other people, the Yolo County did release the Victim Services Program, which is a plethora of services that will be allowed for the families of those 7 unaccounted for people, which include things like counseling for them as well. Reporting live here in Yolo County, Andres Valle, KCRA 3 News.
Thank you. Well, tonight we have learned a Yolo County Sheriff's lieutenant lived on that property, and 2 members of his family were home when the first blast happened. A neighbor tells us he's friends with the lieutenant and spoke with him after the explosions.
And his family was in their house when that happened, and they said they got out. They got kind of blown around and got some glass cut, from what I understand. He said, but they're okay, and they just were able to get out of there.
Well, we have confirmed that lieutenant is Sam Machado, who we interviewed in 2017 for a boating story. Keep in mind the lieutenant's former home is now part of a crime scene. A department spokesperson told us it's one reason this is now a multi-agency investigation. The Esparto fire chief also confirmed today one of his active volunteer firefighters is Craig Cutright, who we have linked through public records to Devastating Pyrotechnics. That's the company that stored fireworks at that property.
Tonight, KCRA 3 got a closer look at the damage to neighboring homes, and that neighbor that we just heard from lives next to the facility. He talked to KCRA 3's Carolina Estrada about the damaging blast. So, Carolina, they were home when that first explosion happened. Must have been a shock.
Yeah, Edie, they tell me they were getting ready to have dinner when they heard a loud boom that just shook their entire home. After that, another explosion. They heard the fireworks, and they heard them throughout the night. And as we walked through the property of this couple, we saw large pieces of metal that, seeing them, you can only wonder how the impact, how strong it must have been to have those large pieces of metal flying onto their property. Now, this couple has lived there for over 2 decades. They say they could have never imagined something like this was going to happen, and now they're getting ready to move to a different state, but first they have to deal with the damage.
It was almost like an earthquake. The whole house shook.
Hear that explosion, you come out,
Yep.
and what do you see?
Just this huge column of white smoke, and it was climbing to 1,000 feet.
It was a scene Walter Lucas never imagined he'd see outside his Esparto home.
But then I saw the fireworks going off behind there, and I knew.
For 23 years, Lucas has lived next to the devastating Pyrotechnics facility.
Everything's gone now.
Every once in a while, on New Year's Eve and whatnot, they put on a really nice commercial fireworks show, and so I never really thought about that.
Until Tuesday, when multiple explosions erupted.
Kind of lifted my wife off her feet, and then everything in the house just started blowing around and crashing.
Damaging his front door and other parts of his home.
So when we came back in, we started looking back in through here, and we saw all of the vents that were popped up on the floor. And we actually didn't see that this window was broken until actually this morning.
Outside his home.
And I just looked up into the sky, and you could just see huge chunks of metal 1,000 feet in the air just flying.
Debris is scattered throughout his almond orchard.
Either a side of a container, because that's kind of what it looks like to me, but there's just stuff everywhere out here.
Lucas showed us the pieces of metal that landed on his property.
That's not roofing tin. That is, it's chunks of metal.
Now the devastation is all that is left. Have you been able to see kind of what's left now?
Yeah, there's not much left. It's pretty much just kind of the carcasses of all the buildings.
I have very minor problems, man, compared to what those families are going through.
And we mentioned that there's people still without power. That's them. They haven't had power for the last more than 24 hours. And a lot of the communities or the houses in these areas rely on wells. And so they also don't have water. They say they don't know exactly when it's going to be restored, but they're just glad that they're safe. They say that firefighters set up right outside their home, so they never really evacuated, but they are still in shock and, trying to process everything that they have been through. Live in Esparto, Esparto, Carolina Estrada, KCRA 3 News. Back to you guys.
Carolina, thank you. And we want to quickly show you the outage map. PG&E has been making pretty good progress on this, but right now 89 customers are still without power. That's down from more than 2,000 right after the first explosion. The estimated restoration time for the rest of the customers is 1:15 in the morning.
And a lengthy cleanup process is ahead. Experts tell KCRA3 the explosions likely left hazardous material from the chemicals inside those fireworks. KCRA3's Peyton Headley spoke with that expert today. Peyton?
Yeah, and this is a big debris field. Even if you can't physically see it right now, you can tell by just how expansive the road closures are leading up to that firework facility. There is a clear concern for miles of land here, and experts say the cleanup could take a while.
It was a deafening boom.
Maybe a bomb had gone off.
It was as loud an explosion as I've ever heard.
We came outside and we saw the plume, and there was another explosion. And that's when we realized this is probably the worst thing we've ever seen in our life.
This was the view from Tom Griffin and Jamie Mark's house on Tuesday evening as they watched explosion after explosion from about half a mile away.
It's so close that if it was really windy, this whole area, this whole valley would have gone up.
Concerned about their property, Tom stayed up late watching through the night.
Even as late as 10:30, there'd still be occasional firecrackers going off and those pop, 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 pop kind of sound.
By morning, signs of the explosion had made it to their backyard.
In the morning, there was embers and the paper that you see with firecrackers on our patio here.
And it was on the grass. And that's the thing, is if it's on the grass, you start to think, okay, you know, this could have started a fire.
That expansive debris field, experts say, will take a while to clean up.
It's just going to be just as hazardous after the fact.
Ray Villanueva works for Catalyst Environmental, a remediation company that deals with contaminated soil. He says there's a lot to consider when it comes to the chemicals used inside of fireworks.
What happens is when the fireworks disperse, when then a lot of these things combine, in a situation like that fire, there's a lot of materials that were blowing next to each other and combining.
And then falling to the ground, which is why he says there will likely be a lot of soil sampling in the coming days.
There's no question about it. There's too many chemicals.
Tom and Jamie say they understand the concern as they watch from afar, with black smoke still rising from the horizon today. And that expert we talked to, he says if you are concerned about your property, he says it's a good idea to wet things down, especially if it's really windy, and make sure that nothing hazardous is blowing around in that wind. As for physical debris items, he says you can likely get in touch with your local regulatory agency and they can help you clean those up wearing the right protective equipment. Live in Esparto, Peyton Headley, KCRA 3 News.
Yeah, you got to wonder what it means for all that agriculture in that area. All right, Peyton, thank you.
We will continue to update the investigation on the fireworks facility explosion, including the people still missing. Download the KCRA app to make sure you get the alerts.